This is Matthew McConaughey,
Natalie Portman.
James Patterson,
Michael Ian Black,
and you are listening to
Five questions
with Dan
Schawbel.
Joe, welcome to Five Questions.
Thanks for having me. Most people don't like talking to me, so I'm glad I got somebody to talk to me today.
Absolutely. You're a real interesting guy. So I'm really looking forward to speaking with you about all your endeavors, including your show and your entrepreneurial experience. As a teenager, you had a pool cleaning business servicing 750 customers. What did this experience teach you about operating a business that has helped you with your current endeavors?
I had an opportunity in dealing with 750 different families and watching how they operated their lives, how they operated their families, and then how they operated their businesses or their jobs. And much like Bruce Lee, I took the good and I discarded the bad. When I saw families fall apart in different areas of their life, I said, I better make sure I don't do that, and I better make sure this person that's successful, I do more of that. And I can't think of a better learning experience. I mean, it was almost like looking, being at 100,000 feet and getting to look at an area of the world and just take the good and discard the bad, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do think that having a service level job, like especially when you're younger, a teenager, like I did as well, you learn the most important skills, how to deal with people. And because you're going to be dealing with a lot of different personalities in your life. And you clearly dealt with so many people that, you could probably handle any situation at this point.
You got to learn how to deal with people. You got to be able to communicate effectively. You got to be able to win people over, how to win friends and influence people.
So one of the things that a lot of people are, dream about is to be able to combine what they do as a passion with a business. And so that's something that you've been able to pull off effectively. How are you able to combine your love for intense outdoor activities and entrepreneurship into the Spartan and death race?
Well, I think we should back up a little bit. Any business I've been in, any job I've had, I've made it my passion. I think it's a first world problem, and it's a little naive to think that we only focus, we only work hard on things we're passionate about. No, you need to become passionate about doing the work in front of you, no matter what it is. The ancient Spartans believed, which I think is awesome, they believed we shouldn't focus on legacy. We shouldn't focus on what we leave behind. We should focus on doing such a great job on whatever that thing is today that legacy just happens. And so here we are 2,500 years later mentioning the Spartans who didn't want to leave a legacy, who just wanted to do a good job. So don't fall into that trap. I don't want to give this 100% because I'm not passionate. Become fucking passionate about it.
Yeah, learn to love it through the hard work. And then obviously when you're doing a good job and succeeding, there's nothing like being successful and making more money and servicing more people and adding value to their lives. So especially with the types of business you do, they're very community driven. So you hear from all sorts of people that feel very accomplished in, the Spartan race and everything. So that has to feel very gratifying too. So it's that you can find ways to be passionate and excited about things, and it might not appear to you immediately, but it can build over time.
I cleaned pools. I was passionate about that. I worked on Wall Street. I was passionate about that. I remember doing construction work and ripping up carpets. I was passionate about that. And what happens is your passion is infectious. Those customers recommend other customers. You can't help but make money. You move up the ladder. And then miraculously one day, I get to have a job where I do things that I actually love doing. I don't have to think about being passionate about. This is what I like to do. This is what I would have paid somebody to do this. Instead, I'm getting paid. Well, not really getting paid coming out of COVID, but you get the point.
Yeah, absolutely. How can physical and mentally challenging activities outside of the office build better leaders and teams?
Well, I think we forget the human body is designed to do stuff. It's designed to sweat. It's designed to run, to lift, to work. It is not designed to sit on a couch and watch Netflix. And when we sit on a couch and we watch Netflix and we live in this modern society where everything is available at our fingertips and requires very little work, what happens is we start to build helplessness, like layers of an onion that build around us. We become really cushy, whether we look cushy or not physically doesn't matter. We have a really tough time getting outside our comfort zone, and the bubble shrinks so much that anything that is shocking to the system, which might be the Wi-Fi not working, the coffee not being made, upsets us and becomes a major distraction throughout the day. Versus a person that lives way outside their comfort zone and does the hard things that you asked a question about and gets really comfortable being uncomfortable. Well, then there's nothing they can't do, right? Like we call them resilience data points. You need to plant resilience data points in your brain. I interviewed a woman on our podcast a couple of days ago, 80 years old, Russian immigrant, got extracted from her home in World War II and banished to Siberia away from her parents. She had to kill kittens because they were overrun with cats in the commune. She had to kill kittens by drowning them at 8 years old. Here's a woman that could do anything because she's so grateful to just be alive, right? There's nothing that's going to rattle her or upset her. As a matter of fact, she made the statement, like, depression was not something that existed when we were just trying to survive. So don't ever question the value of doing hard things. You should question the value of doing easy things. That's what you should question.
Definitely. And I know a lot of people who've done Spartan, and one of the things that makes it successful is people build strong bonds. And those type of bonds, it's not like they just remain in your personal life. Like if you're doing Spartan, for instance, with maybe a coworker, that could really help as well, because the tough times are not only what can help build character, but help build relationships. I mean, you look at fraternities, sororities, for the most part, a lot of those people are still friends who go through those tough times together, 6 weeks, months, pledging. And then also, just any real tough time, you talk about wars, you talk about armies, a lot of people who go to the army build a bond that lasts forever as well. So I do think that getting through tough times can be a good thing and build stronger relationships across the board.
Tough times build tough people, build tough bonds. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And
And by,
during the first episode of your CNBC show, No Retreat Business Bootcamp, what unorthodox approaches did you use to help a privately owned cleaning business?
listen, the whole thing is unorthodox. When's the last time you saw barbed wire on CNBC? The idea of taking businesses and the people within those businesses, the owners, the employees, etc., and throwing them into a really uncomfortable situation on the farm changes them for all the reasons we just said. We at the end of the day, we wanted to highlight for a business what the issues are so that they don't just walk over them every day and not pay attention to them. We do that. We listen to Harvard Business Review, we listen to podcasts, we read books, and we think that that's going to change our business, but it doesn't. We don't actually do the work necessary to make the change. Only under pressure does change happen. And so I'm like a pressure cooker. And the farm is a giant, like, rice pressure cooker. And people come up there, we put them under pressure, and they change.
That's so true, especially with someone or a business that's very successful. They're less likely to try and innovate because they're happy with the revenues that they have coming in. But if they get disrupted, then you typically see a lot more change. So, change can get forced on you, but it can be better also to create change as well and be proactive.
You're probably too young to remember there was a great company called Eastman Kodak. They made cameras and film. They should have owned the world. It was literally the number one brand in the world, WorldCom. Go down the list. They become extremely complacent. They're not willing to do the hard work, become bureaucratic behemoths, and then go out of business.
Yeah, the interesting thing is back when I graduated college years and years ago, I was competing for entry level jobs with former directors of that company.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean, if you gotta kind of be a pioneer and make change. Otherwise, you could easily get left behind, especially in today's world. And what's your best piece of career advice?
Best piece of career advice would be anybody you work for or work alongside, make sure that when they go home at night, they say, oh my God, that person is the hardest worker. That person shows up early. That person stays late. If everybody else is working from home, you go to the office. Like, go above and beyond, because those recommendations, that attitude towards you from everybody around you is going to catapult you to places you want to be later in life.
I agree. And it lets you stand out too. If everyone's doing one thing, and you do something the opposite, work an extra few hours, et cetera, that's really going to make you shine because you're going above and beyond the expectations and actually setting new expectations for everyone else. So as much as everyone else is like, oh no, like, this person is a kind of a brown noser, let's say, to their manager, at the same time, they're setting this new kind of expectation that everyone's gonna work harder as well, so that you can bring the team up too and encourage them. And that's what it takes to be a leader.
If it was the 1800s, I would say it'd be harder to stand out because everybody's a hard worker. Today, it's very easy to stand out. You don't have to do that much more to stand way above everybody else.
Definitely. And that's great advice. And thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.